city grew up, how it was planned, that is very necessary for us to understand, because it was not planned in the present era. It was planned in the way back 1727. This is what we need to learn from our legacy. Next. Now, the most important feature in planning of Jaipur was the demography. The temperature was the major consideration. The architect Vidyadhar Bhattacharya in 1727 thought everything when he planned the city. The city was not planned at a macro level. It was, even to the small detailing, it was planned. He thought in a very holistic approach at a micro level also. Now, what was the history behind it? The then king of Jaipur, his capital was Amer, the highest point of Jaipur. He came up with the vision, Savai Jai Singh, second in 1727. He thought that why not to create a capital wherein I am able to grow my trade and commerce in a better way. Why not to have a capital where people live in between close cohesiveness? Why not to come up with a capital where I don't have any military threats? So this was the reason that he chose. Just he went down the hills and he called one architect, Vidyadhar Bhattacharya, to plan the city of Jaipur. So that time, even the promoter, or we call it developer that time, he thought and he invited that architect to the city to plan the city of Jaipur. It's not working? Yeah. So this was the need of the new capital. Now, as I told you, the king was very smart. He was very wise. He knew that the major threat to his kingdom is from the Delhi side. So he knew that there are big hillocks where whenever there will be invasion, he can withstand that very properly. So after the hillocks, he planned that city. So the major reason to plan Jaipur at this location was because of the military reasons. And then he thought, why not to have certain focal points, gridiron patterns, some concept behind the planning. What was this concept? This was I think I missed the slide. One sec. Yes. The focal point was, he was a religious person. The temple, the focal point was temple. He fortified the temple. Then he bought dwelling units and the commercial part, which is D part in between. Then again the entire city was fortified. This was the planning. So whosoever doing business in that city, living in that city, are secured, they are fortified. And every one of them is facing the temple, A and B point. So political center and the temple was the focal point. So it was like we see when Athens was planned, Acropolis was at the top, and so it was not elevated, but there was an access to the temple and the political center. So this is how the king thought. The architect materialized that thing, and he did into detailing. Then the architect was given a task, that what is going to be the concept. Since it was a Hindu concept, it was a Hindu kingdom, so he said, I need to pay tribute to Hindu mythology. So he said that there are 9 graha, which we call 9 planets as per Hindu mythology. So why not to pay a tribute to the 9 planets of Earth, of the universe? So by default, the hills were coming on the northwestern part. So he said, what to do? So yesterday, when you went to that building, Jawahar Kala Kendra, that was a tribute to the city planning of Jaipur. The area where we sat and we discussed in that auditorium, you must be thinking that is a tilt. Charles Correa also thought something, he also wanted to pay tribute to the city planning of Jaipur. That tilted block was that auditorium. So because of that block could not come in the northwestern part, so it was shifted to block number 4. It was done so thoughtfully. Every blocks were in a grid iron pattern, linear. And if I talk, I'll explain about the road network in my next slides. So this was a tribute to the city, to the Hindu mythology, and plus is addressed well to the local site conditions. Then after the city was planned, people started living, then it was realized by the later successor of this king that there were certain buildings need to come up, which also becomes a part of our built-in natural heritage. He built Hawa Maidan, Vidhan Sabha was constructed afterwards, Maharaja College, then he created that Ram Niwas Bagh, lots of other structure. But all things were planned initially. It was done in phases, but the master planning of the entire city was done initially. This is the most important thing. It's not that I have thought it being an architect. It was thought at that period of time. Trade. I need to create certain bazaars for the trade, which everyone, I think most of you have gone. Johari Bazaar, Tripolia Bazaar, Chandpol Bazaar. He deliberately created those bazaars. Markets. Bazaar means market. He created market. He said local availability. Since it was amidst that hill blocks, so there were certain bawadies, I mean to say step wells, water, tanks, everything was thought that time. 1727, he thought about water. How should I replenish my rainwater? How should I reuse the rainwater? We should learn from that, I think. Stepwell, as you all know, must have read, that are the core heritage, built heritage of, natural heritage of Jaipur and Rajasthan. Then design techniques. He talked about local availability, then local availability trade. What should be my design techniques? Then the climatic response to the architecture came into play. He knew hot and dry climate. What do I do? He didn't have a glass. Right, Simon? He didn't have air conditioner that time. He created slitter windows. To every building, he gave the jali concept, where the pressure changes, you get a cooler breeze whenever there's a change of pressure. So he talked about zalis. He talked about zarokas. He talked about courtyards, where the stack effect is there. You feel inside when all the openings are inward, you get a cooler breeze. And then, of course, he thought about money. You need to have certain cost-efficient materials. All they were locally material. And then the overall framework. Where do I do havelis? Where do I do bazaars? Where do I put my temples? And where do I put my open green spaces? Which was very important. Then, these were the markets. I don't have the old pics. This is the older pic. I don't know which year, but see, they are still the same, except for the human beings changes. They were in lungi, now they're in jeans. But thanks to the authority of my city, you will not find neon sign, glow sign, LED in my walled city. The credit goes to all the stakeholders, including my authority, the citizens of my living heritage. And I'm sorry I'm cutting you at a lunchtime. I'll finish it fast because everyone has witnessed that. So this was the trade. Then this is a typical street section. That was a temple, elevated a bit. Other bazaars at a lower level, but temple at a higher level. Local availability. What was it? The water, rainwater coming down, collecting it somewhere in a tank, and finally getting it into a step well. He talked local. Amer Palace, Waterworks, Abaneri, this Pannamina Kund, everything was created that time. Important thing, waste management that time. We today architects, I'm sorry to say, that even sometimes we forgo these things in our designs. He thought of sanitation corridor between the two building blocks that time. He thought of a place where to collect the garbage. There was a place, dedicatedly place given to the garbage, a garbage collection, thought that time. These were the Gandhi Nalis. Then the design techniques. See, the aesthetics. Can anyone create these days now? And we are the people who proudly copy it and put it in our design and say we have designed a heritage-like building. But none of us can play with the proportions. You cannot come with a chitri of your own creation. You have to cut and paste. So still we are following that. Typology of the facade. Entire facade was in the same typology, which is reflecting still today. Construction material. We choose lime, surkhi. I think Kavita is sitting here. She is an authority in heritage and conservation. So she knows. And I am proud that recently I have given her a task to make a ISKCON temple, some facade out of the local materials. She is assisting me. So still we are proud that we were born in this atmosphere. Colors. Why these colors? Pink. Was there any beauty in pink? Why did you choose magenta? Why did you choose orange? Because pink is soothing. You knew when I am doing such a project at such a great macro level, it's a soothing effect creating. Pink is a very soothing color. Why we give pink color to the babies? Soothing color. Then the overall framework. This is the micro detailing of every block, which was 900 meters by 900 meters. He did the micro detailing of everything. The main roads were 110 feet wide. They were the arterial road. I think I have the road network in this. The main road were 110. The arterial road were half of it. And the branch road inside the interior road were again half of it. So meticulously planned. And these are the things which we still see. And every one of us is proud of us. I think it's a high time that whatever are going to be the conclusions, whatever we are going to take back to our country, but we should think holistically. The legacy must carry on. We need a hard time to carry this legacy with us. You learn from your country, I learn from my city, you learn from Sri Lanka, you learn from Bhutan, you learn from Indonesia, but we should learn from our history and follow that because they were very sensible at that time. We architects, we designers have adulterated this profession. Please stop and save this adulteration and try to follow our legacy in a strong manner. Thank you very much.